Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today is the 6th of January, 2024. We're going to talk about Warren Buffett today. And he is being sued. Well, Berkshire Hathaway is being sued by the Haslam family. Look at the title from the AP. They say that Warren Buffett's Berkshire wants to take money out of their pockets in a Trump stop deal. Wow. Billionaire problems. What can I say? What's going on with this? Let's go through this article real quick. You guys can see from Jaws Funk, the billionaire Haslam family says in a lawsuit. Now, this article was in October of last year. Okay, so lawsuits, it takes a couple of months, years to find resolution to the case. So this goes back to October, right? They're trying to say that Warren is trying to get them. They're talking about Berkshire is trying to reduce the amount of money that they're going to pay the Haslam family for their business. Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, they're trying to artificially depress the price the company is obligated to pay for the family's remaining 20% stake in the Pilot Travel Centers truck stop chain that Jim Haslam founded. So now, that one paragraph is telling us that Warren and Berkshire Hathaway is buying the business. They're trying to buy Pilot Travel Centers truck chains, right? Now, they have already purchased some of the stock. This is a privately held company, so you cannot see the value of the stock. But Warren likes the business. He wants to buy the business. All right, cool. Now, it has occurred in chunks, right? Berkshire has already paid, look at that next sentence. They've already paid $11 billion since 2017 for the first 80%, right? So 80%, Warren now owns the business. He has the majority stake. He's the head honcho. Berkshire Hathaway calls the shots. If they want to make any change, they can do it because they have 80%. They paid $11 billion for it, though. So now there's 20% remaining before Berkshire Hathaway owns 100% majority stake of the business. That deal hasn't happened yet. That purchase hasn't occurred yet, okay? Berkshire changed, get this, the accounting practices at Pilot this year after it acquired control of the company. This, to everyone who looks at these YouTube channels and try to push, buying stocks is the way to get rich, buy and hold for 10, 15, 20 years. That is not how Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, a lot of these billionaires got rich. They don't sit and hold. What they do, you're seeing an example of it right now. They buy businesses. You have to buy businesses in order to accumulate monetary assets, gains, to become a billionaire. You got to do that. Now, for some reason, many people in the investment world look at Warren Buffett as a great investor, which I do admit he is, but I don't think he's a great investor because he holds stocks. No, he's a great investor because he buys businesses. And this is an example of how he does it. He comes in and buys at certain point stakes of the business. So in that one sentence, from 2017, he paid $11 billion for 80% of the business. Now he has another 20% left to pay. You'll begin to see that even Warren doesn't want to pay more than what he has to. Berkshire changed the accounting practices at Pilot this year after it acquired control of the company. Now, Warren, why would you do that? I mean, if Pilot is running so well from when you paid $11 billion for in 2017, why would you want to come in and all of a sudden change up what's been working? Well, one reason could be because he's paying too much and he knows he has 20% left to pay. And if he sees that the business is worth more, I need to try to reduce it to where I could pay less. So how can I do that? Where Berkshire is trying to say we could change up the accounting practices that Pilot does. try to flip some things around to make it seem as if they're not as valuable or that they're not making as much money. The lawsuit that was unsealed Thursday, that was in October, said that change is artificially depressing Pilot's reported earnings, which are used to set the purchase price Berkshire agreed to pay in 2017. So this whole agreement is based on how much money Pilot is making. Now you kind of can see, oh, maybe that is why Warren came through and changed the accounting practices of Pilot. Because if you don't want to pay a lot of the money, then you will come in and try to change some things up to depress what it actually is making. How do you do that? Because this is an agreement. You cannot break a contract, correct? Both sides had agreed to this, that Berkshire would pay Pilot off of how much how much earnings the business makes. Right? Okay, cool. The redacted lawsuit didn't reveal how much the Haslam believed they could lose because those figures were withheld from the document. Right? This is billionaire problems. But the family did say Berkshire estimated its stake would be worth around $3.2 billion without the accounting change. So they paid $11 billion already, 2017. They're trying to say for the remaining 20%, $3.2 billion will be paid by Berkshire Hathaway if Berkshire didn't make the accounting change. Now, do you think the Haslam family has a case, or do they not? Let's see. Buffett didn't respond to questions about the dispute that were emailed to his assistant on Friday. Berkshire is known for largely letting its businesses run themselves and holding on to nearly every business it buys forever. That is why he's a great investor, not because he holds stocks. The Haslams said their respect for Buffett and his conglomerate was a big part of why Berkshire was the only buyer they thought about. See, they didn't want other buyers, they wanted them. In a somewhat unusual move. Wait, hold on. Warren buys businesses, right? Supposedly good businesses. Why would he make this exception and make a change and actually interfere with the daily operations of how Pilot reports their revenues? Why? That's why this article goes on to say that it's unusual. Berkshire installed a new CEO at Pilot. Step 1, buy 80% stake of a business. That's what Berkshire did. Step 2, install a new CEO at Pilot that we like. This is what Berkshire is doing. That's step 2. Step 3, have that CEO change the accounting to report lesser earnings. Berkshire installed a new CEO at Pilot after it took over this year and made the accounting change at the heart of the lawsuit. Berkshire's decision to shift to something called push-down accounting. Oh, so the CEO came in and he created an accounting change called push-down accounting that forced Pilot to take on higher depreciation and amortization costs that resulted in lower net income. This is according to the lawsuit. Now, it hasn't been decided, but that's according to what the Haslam family is saying. So the Haslam people were like, wait, hold up. If our agreement between Berkshire is based off how much money we make, how much revenue the business is bringing in, and they just made this accounting change to lower the net income of the business, it looked like they're not trying to pay the full amount of what we ought to be paid of that 20% stake that they have left to pay us. So they took that and they tried unsuccessfully to argue at the board meetings that the company shouldn't make that change, or at least that the new accounting method shouldn't be used to determine the value of the remaining 20%. But guess what? When you don't own the majority stake of the business, your voice carries less weight. So they was outvoted. by the 5 Berkshire members of the board. They're like, yeah, okay, we hear you, but you don't own the business that much. You have a minority stake. Yeah, we hear you, but we're still going to do what we want to do because we have the majority. Our vote carries more weight. So they failed. The Haslam didn't get anything off of that when they voiced their concern. So the other Haslam appealed directly to Buffett. He called Buffett on the phone. This is just hypothetical. He called him. He said, hey, let's have a conversation. He tried to talk to Warren. But as the lawsuit says, that all of the revered investor would say, get this, Warren plays the game right. Because this is the only thing that he said when the older Haslam came to him. The only thing he would say is he would reiterate that Berkshire will comply with the terms of the contract they all signed in 2017. You guys remember that question I asked you earlier? Will Haslam win the case? To me, no, they won't win it because of what Warren just said right there. They will comply with the terms of the contract that they all signed in 2017. Wow. As part of the deal, Berkshire bought 38.68% of Pilot in 2017. So this is the first batch that they came through and purchased the business for $2.758 billion. Before more than doubling that to 80% this year for an additional $8.2 billion. Now, this is what Warren said to the shareholders of Berkshire Hathaway. He wished that he could have bought the entire company at one time because the price was a whole lot better in 2017. If I could buy the business in 2017 100% right outright at that price, I would have done it. That's what he's saying, because the price was very attractive. Well, as time goes on, it looked like Pilot has done a lot better in terms of increasing their revenue. He goes on to say that the Haslams wouldn't sell it all at one time back then. See, even a Haslam knows how this game is meant to be played. Maybe they was in the stump. Maybe times were rough. Maybe the economy was going through a bad situation in 2017. They were like, well, the Haslam was like, well, this situation is not going to last forever. Like, this business will eventually come back and we'll bring in more revenue. So rather than us getting this small amount of purchasing or money from Berkshire, let's do this in chunks. That's a good idea. From the Haslam perspective, and Warren's like, all right, cool. We'll give you that in the contract. But what the Haslam didn't consider is that once Warren gets 80% stake of the business, he can actually go in and, move some things around. Like bringing a new CEO. Like change the accounting. The Haslam didn't consider that. The first stage we bought at what turned out to be a very attractive price. That's what Warren said in the meeting. The second stage, meaning the second purchase, turned out to be a very good year for the diesel business, which means that the seller got a very good price. I like how people say things, because if you read under the words, he's telling you, even there, Warren is telling you that the business did better than what we thought it was going to do. The diesel business actually came back to a profitable range, I guess you could say, or increased their revenue. And then he says that the seller, which is the Haslam family, got a very good price. Now, yes, they did, which means that Warren paid too much. That's what he's going on to say. They paid too much. Yep, Warren is admitting right there that he paid too much for that second batch to make 80%. The Haslam have the option once a year to decide whether they want to sell their remaining stake. There's 20% left. Will they sell it to Warren? Or or will they hold on to the 20%? The family asked the court to intervene and force Pilot to revert to the accounting method it used to use before they have to make that decision early next year. Here it is, January 2024. Now, the Haslam is asking the court, hey, I need your help. Can you kind of intervene and tell, Warren to revert back to the accounting changes that we did when we initially agreed to the contract? What would the court do? Now, look at this though. Billionaire problems. Warren Buffett's company's bribery allegations. Oh no. Now it's getting deep. Against the Haslam family won't be decided in January. But look at this. Now you have the Haslam family saying that Warren is trying to shortchange them on the money that they should rightfully get. Now you got Warren coming over here saying, well, it looked like you guys may be allegedly bribers. This article came out from the AP, December 4th, 2023. Warren Buffett's company decided not to move forward with an expedited trial on its bribery allegations against the billionaire Haslam family in January under the strict conditions the judge set. But it will still be able to raise those concerns then, as judge considers the Haslam rival claim that Berkshire Hathaway tried to depress the Pilot truck stop chain's earnings. Both of them is accusing one another of trying to manipulate the profits. The Haslam are saying that Berkshire is trying to keep earnings down with an accounting change, while Berkshire is saying that Cleveland Browns owner Jimmy Haslam tried to bribe executives at the truck stop chain his family used to run to inflate earnings at the company. The Haslam family includes Jimmy Haslam, the former Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam, and their father who founded the company. Now, this just adds more fuel to the fire. It's getting dirty. Billionaire problems. I think it'd be interesting to see who actually wins. To me, I don't think the Haslam has a case because of the contract that was agreed upon both parties in 2017. But especially if Warren can come through with his bribery allegations between the Haslam family, I don't think that the Haslam will win. But we'll see. Billionaire problems. Give me your thoughts. Make sure you maintain the profitability, and as always, trade different.